Warning, this video contains fast flashing images. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for those with photosensitive epilepsy. From hating their first song to an anti-drug lifestyle, the Italian rock band Måneskin is more than meets the eyes. Here's everything you need to know about the rockers. Måneskin wide-released their first music in 2017, just 2 years after the band officially formed, but some members of the group were familiar with one another from childhood. Thomas Raggi revealed how he and bassist Victoria De Angelis were friends before deciding to form a band, since they attended a music-focused high school in Rome. Meanwhile, future Måneskin singer Damiano David was performing with another group that was actively seeking out new members. Instead, he teamed up with the already mostly completed group that would evolve into Måneskin. All the band lacked at that point was a drummer. They advertised for one on Facebook. The musician who got the job, and who was also the only person to answer the ad, was drummer Ethan Torchio. Måneskin has never not been a foursome, always consisting of bassist Victoria De Angelis, guitarist Thomas Raggi, drummer Ethan Torchio, and singer Damiano David. However, early in the band's history, it looked as if David just wasn't going to work out, and the band would have to proceed with a different vocalist. When figuring out their sound by playing shows on the streets of Rome in the mid-2010s, De Angelis, serving as the leader of the band at the time, dismissed David. The bassist was actively looking for more of a punk rock sound, while David brought a pop sensibility and a well-mannered vocal style. Speaking to NPR's All Things Considered, De Angelis explained the decision, saying, "He was singing a bit too well. We needed a little more shouting and stuff, so we were like, no, you're out." David attributes his initial inability to fit in with the band to the fact that he was a teenager and that his voice was still transforming due to adolescence. He said, "So when I finally got my oldest voice, I learned how to sing." Before they won the heavily watched Eurovision Song Contest in 2021, Måneskin competed in another popular televised music competition. In 2017, the group auditioned for the Italian iteration of the X Factor, even though it was an environment that heavily favored pop acts and not rock bands. The band had some significant reservations about appearing on the show. Bassist Victoria De Angelis told Variety, "At first, we weren't very sure of going because of the way television shows are seen and perceived. Often, people think that they're fake, but then we thought it was just a chance to share our music with a big audience." Måneskin defied the odds, not only making it onto the X Factor, but proceeding all the way to a second-place finish. But despite the loss, Måneskin's standout performance from the show, a cover of the Four Seasons 1967 hit Beggin', would go on to become a massive international hit on streaming services and radio 4 years after the band debuted the song on TV. With more than 1 billion Spotify listens, it's Måneskin's most played song.
More than 1 billion.
1.1 billion.
It's crazy.
It's strange.
It's weird, yeah.
Beggin' represented a commercial breakthrough in the United States for Måneskin. In October 2021, 4 years after the group competed with the song on the X Factor in Italy, it started an 11-week run atop the Billboard Alternative Airplay chart. Those chart achievements all came organically through little efforts on the part of the band. As Damiano David revealed, the band didn't even do anything to push the song. Instead, it was TikTok that made it go viral, leaving everyone surprised by its success. The song's presence in the Måneskin repertoire dates back to their early days as a band. Victoria De Angelis told CNN, "We played it at first when we just started, and we think it's way more challenging and fun to make covers of very different songs." The rock band's interpretation of Beggin' is actually a take on a rap-based version of the tune, which originated as a vocal pop song in 1967 by the Four Seasons. Norwegian rap duo Madcon had a minor hit in the US in 2008 with their version of Beggin', which was a top 10 smash hit in the UK and Italy, where the members of Måneskin had become familiarized. As David told Pop Crush, "We were 16 at the time and we had no original songs, and we had to choose songs to cover. We all liked the Madcon version." Måneskin was formed in the Italian capital of Rome by a group of Italian teenagers, and many of the band's most popular songs are performed in the musician's first language of Italian. But the name of the band isn't based in the Italian language, nor does it have any significant meaning for the group's members, as it was selected in a rush. Speaking to CNN, bassist Victoria De Angelis explained how it came about, saying, "I picked it when we first started playing because we needed to join this musical competition and we didn't have a name yet. The musician is half Danish and she's fluent in the language. So the other members of the band asked her to rattle off various Danish words until something stuck out. De Angelis said Måneskin, the Danish word for moonlight, and that won out. And while often publicly pronounced like Maneskin or Manskin, that's incorrect."
It's the Italian mispronunciation.
Yeah.
And it means like aggressive.
Aggressive, yeah.
In Italian.
Måneskin is the correct pronunciation, as explained by guitarist Thomas Raggi. Despite their purposefully hard-partying look and sound evoking debauched rock and roll bands of the 1970s and 80s, Måneskin is actually opposed to a part of that lifestyle, namely the consumption of illicit and intoxicating substances. Speaking to NME, singer Damiano David said, "I've never done coke in my life, and I don't think I ever will because my heart is too weak for that." Bassist Victoria De Angelis backed up his claims, stating that the vocalist hardly drinks beer. Being in a jet-setting prolific band and using drugs don't mix for Måneskin. David explained his thinking to Vogue Italia, saying, "Creativity comes from a healthy mind, trained, lucid. The brain is a machine that must have the gears in place, and drugs are just a huge filth." David specifically doesn't want to join the 27 Club and be another star who dies at the age of 27 due to substance abuse issues. Måneskin broke through to an international audience with original songs performed in its members' native language of Italian. After the band established itself as a preeminent act, Måneskin's English language songs have hit even bigger, such as I Wanna Be Your Slave, Supermodel, and Begging. While Måneskin is capitalizing on their success by releasing songs in English, a language spoken by more people worldwide and thus more marketable than Italian, the group has always gone back and forth between the two tongues. Speaking to Rolling Stone, Damiano David said, "When we started, all our songs were written in English. We wanted to break through the Italian market, so we needed to write lyrics in Italian. Of course, we love doing it, but on the other hand, we have always been comfortable writing music in English. It's also an opportunity to be understood by most people in the world." According to bassist Victoria De Angelis, the English songs arrived organically. She said, "It wasn't planned, but since we were outside Italy for most of the year, we were surrounded by English language and were influenced by many English-speaking musicians, so it felt natural." Many of Måneskin's initial attempts in different avenues proved very successful. The hit single Beggin' was launched from the group's first TV talent show appearance on the Italian version of The X Factor, while Ziti al Buoni took off after Måneskin performed it on the Eurovision Song Contest. The group's absolute first piece of original music, composed after all four members joined Måneskin, wasn't met with a similar feeling of lightning in a bottle. That first song was about firsts, and it was titled Introduction. Speaking to NME, the band expressed various feelings about it. Drummer Ethan Torchio said since it was their first song, it wasn't the greatest. Bassist Victoria De Angelis called it embarrassing, while singer Damiano David used an expletive to describe it. Perhaps not surprisingly, Måneskin has never commercially released Introduction, nor has it ever appeared in the band's post-fame set list.
It was like our introduction to the music. So,
Yeah,
so
poetic.
Cringe. Yeah, so cringe.
Very cringy, yeah.
In the wake of the international success of Ziti al Buoni, which was the song that won the band the 2021 Eurovision Song Contest, Måneskin released the follow-up single, I Wanna Be Your Slave. It quickly became the group's most successful single ever in the UK, reaching number 5 on the charts. Those accomplishments came despite some initial skepticism from bassist Victoria De Angelis and guitarist Thomas Raji. Singer Damiano David recorded a demo of the tune as an audio file and sent it to the Måneskin group chat. De Angelis told The Guardian, Damiano said, "Hey, check out this banger I came up with on the piano. I was hanging out with Thomas, and he said, that sounds like..." After getting together as a band in London, the musicians converted David's piano riff to a bass riff, added some distortion, and found that it worked. David joked that his bandmates should have been more imaginative if they see themselves as artists. In 2018, Måneskin released their first studio album, El Ballo della Vita, which translated to English means The Dance of Life. Right away, the band set out to establish a recurring mythology. Italian-language lyrics cryptically and emphatically allude to a woman named Marlena in 5 of the album's 12 songs. None of those songs are about a real person named Marlena, though. More of an idea and summation of musical themes than a living or fictional character, Marlena is a theme that drove El Ballo della Vita, which David said is a concept album. David added the following, Marlena is the voice and the face of our message. We decided to contain it in a woman to give strength to our message, because when things are told by a person, you feel it more personally instead of having to interpret the songs. One of Måneskin's first big breaks post-Eurovision was an appearance on the soundtrack to the 2022 Elvis Presley biopic Elvis. Amidst other well-established acts such as Chris Isaak, Stevie Nicks, Diplo, and Casey Musgraves contributing contemporary-styled covers of old Presley songs, Måneskin recorded a version of the ballad If I Can Dream. The band announced that they'd recorded the song during a spot on the 2022 Eurovision finale. Elvis was directed and co-written by Baz Luhrmann, a native of Australia, where Eurovision is especially and historically popular. Luhrmann approached the band just after their Eurovision success and pitched them with a full vision of what he thought they should do with If I Can Dream. Speaking to NME, singer Damiano David said, "We were talking about it with Baz Luhrmann, who had this really cool, super smart idea, because it would have been so easy to give us an up-tempo song and go super rockish. He saw that between the lines that we were going to be able to give something else to show the sweet side of Elvis."
Thank you, Elvis.
Any band up and running after the 1960s that embraces the sleaze, flamboyance, and riff-based aspects of rock and roll is influenced by the Rolling Stones, who are considered by many to be the world's greatest rock band of all time. Måneskin falls into that camp, and its members were taken aback when that group's leader and singer Mick Jagger personally requested that they open for the Rolling Stones at a November 2021 show in Las Vegas. It would also mark the band's biggest performance to that point. The band spoke about the experience on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon.
It was like our biggest, like our first stadium, so it was crazy. And also it was iconic because we got the chance to talk to him. And he was like so nice and knew like a lot of our music and stuff.
Also impressed with the younger rock and roll upstarts, but perhaps not as much, was Jagger's Rolling Stones bandmate, guitarist Keith Richards. DeAngelis joked about how he told them he didn't know who they were, but he had heard they were good musicians. While it's seemingly a vehicle to turn the performers of the winning song into an international sensation, the Eurovision Song Contest has only ever made one overnight bona fide superstar act, ABBA, who won for Sweden in 1974 with Waterloo. 21st century Italian rock sensation Måneskin looks to be the next big thing to come out of Eurovision, and the band used a 2021 single to reference and pay tribute to their launchpad and victorious precursor. After the completion of Eurovision, Måneskin had less than a week to write, record, and produce a new single, Mamma Mia. Frontman Damiano David revealed to NME that the song arrived in a few short hours. He explained how the sudden rise in their celebrity and fame served as the main inspiration, saying, "I wanted to translate that into the lyrics because it happens a lot. Maybe you're doing something that you feel is great, but people don't understand it and make bad judgments and bad comments about it. I wanted to make fun of that situation." Another Eurovision connection. Previous champion ABBA had a hit single in 1975 with a similarly titled Mamma Mia. Following worldwide success after their Eurovision Song Contest win in 2021, Måneskin hopped from Italy to Los Angeles to explore professional opportunities. In living and working around the entertainment hotbed, the members of the band were inspired to write the 2022 hit Supermodel. It's not a tune about one particular man or woman, but an eye-opening response to the superficiality of the LA lifestyle. It's a concept the musicians saw firsthand while attending exclusive parties. Frontman Damiano David told Billboard, "What shocked us was there's a lot of people who only try to get something from others and they want to be at the top of the spots. But then you see that they're playing a character. It was strange for us because we always saw these things on movies and TV shows, and we always thought it was kind of exaggerated, but it's not." Måneskin was inspired to stay above the fray and instead make a song out of the experience.
We were very lucky, but at the same time we were smart.
Måneskin's lyrics and public statements are often laced with anger or frustration, particularly over social issues and injustice. It's an emotion that goes back to the band's early days, when they found so few opportunities for new rock groups in Italy that they had to perform on the street. Explaining Måneskin's will to succeed and attempts to effect change, singer Damiano David told the Associated Press, "This gives us the strength and the cathartic anger to change this kind of situation. The band's revealing, eye-catching stage outfits speak to that. They believe that what they wear gives them a sense of freedom while also challenging gender norm stereotypes. In addition to publicly supporting a proposed amendment to an Italian law that would offer anti-hate crime protection to the LGBT community, Måneskin wrote and recorded the 2022 track Gasoline to voice their outrage over the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Discussing why the band decided to do this, Victoria DeAngelis told The Independent, "We just felt like we could do something to use our privilege and the people that look up to us to stand for what's right, and to make some people feel helped and understood." In 2022, Måneskin was invited to attend the annual MTV Video Music Awards. The Italian rock band won the award for Best Alternative for I Wanna Be Your Slave, and also took to the stage during the live broadcast for a performance of the single Supermodel. The musicians' stage costumes didn't cover up much skin, though. Singer Damiano David wore a dog collar, leather chaps, and a thong, while bassist Victoria DeAngelis wore a loose-fitting single-sleeve top that hung down so low on one side that she wore a shiny star-shaped cutout over an otherwise exposed breast. As she energetically played the bass guitar, the shirt fell, leaving the musician partially nude on stage and on live TV. MTV's camera crew resorted to using as many wide shots as possible of the band to avoid showing the scantily clad DeAngelis and David. Aware of and unfazed by the wardrobe issue, DeAngelis kept playing. Discussing how MTV handled the incident to The Guardian, DeAngelis said, "It's so stupid because they want to appear so open-minded and then they get scared about a pair of nipples."
Always.
After bringing their music from Italy to the rest of Europe through the Eurovision Song Contest and then around the world with a couple of albums, Måneskin released their third album, Rush, in January 2023. To commemorate the occasion, all four members of the band brought it all back home to Italy and got married. In a publicity stunt staged and funded by Spotify, where the band generates streaming numbers in the billions, they converged on the Palazzo Brancaccio in Rome for the ceremony, located not far from where the group honed their skills busking together as teenagers. Presiding over the lavish wedding as the celebrant, fashion designer Alessandro Michele. Celebrities such as Baz Luhrmann, Machine Gun Kelly, and Paolo Sorrentino were present as each member of Måneskin pledged their loyalty to each other. In this non-legally binding mock wedding ceremony, all four musicians in Måneskin married each other. Everyone wore coordinated white outfits, clutched bouquets, and celebrated their fake nuptials with kisses. As a multidisciplinary art project, the group's look is nearly as important as the music that inspired it. In 2020, after releasing a couple of popular albums in Italy, but before they would become international superstars with a win at Eurovision, Måneskin sought out a high-profile image consultant. The band hired co-founder and principal of Sugarcane, Nick Cerioni. Sugarcane is a rock music forward agency that develops musicians' image and handles all elements of art direction, including the production of music videos and the fashions they wear. Cerioni said that upon meeting with the musicians of Måneskin, he appreciated their professionalism, artistry, and unique ideas about style. The group favors fashions that take inspiration from the same sources as their music, such as hard rock and glam bands of the late 20th century. Throughout 2023, the band played shows while wearing ensembles prepared for them by Gucci. The classic rock-evoking outfits utilized a lot of form-fitting pieces, leather, bell-bottom pants, and bare skin.